Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Callsign Charlie Models. We are getting very close to the end of the Jayhawk build, and today we're going to be doing the decals and pretty much finishing up the build of this project, or the whole project right here. So right now, just adding on decals. We're going to do it on one side. The other side I'm not going to do on camera, but now I'm at the emblem, and I remember trying to replace the emblem on the 45 RBM that we had, and getting that perfectly lined up was always a nightmare to get done. So that decal went on great. All the decals from this Warner Wing set went down absolutely amazing. Had no issues with any of the decals whatsoever. And this silicone tip uh, brush that I have that I got from Amazon, I got a set of like 4 or 5 of them from Amazon for like $10. And these have been an absolute game changer for me for decaling, because it is a lot easier, as you can see, to move the decal around in place, just to make sure that it's positioned right and off of the decal paper. Just makes it a lot easier. I was using cotton buds, and I would go through 30 or 40 cotton buds just on a normal decal kit. That's not like the F4. With the F4, I pretty much went through a whole carton of 500 um, cotton buds, because there are just so many decals on that. But with this silicone brush, I'm only using the cotton buds to take the water out, the excess water out from the decal, as you can see. And I only went through like 4 or 5 cotton buds on this build. So now I am applying the fuselage numbers on it. And you'll see here in a little bit, I do end up changing the numbers because of something that I'm going to go on over later on in this video right here. So we're getting all those done, and now making this a Traverse City bird. Traverse City, absolutely beautiful area of Michigan. Even as a Buckeye fan, that does pain me to say, but Traverse City, northern Michigan, is absolutely gorgeous. They call it God's country for a reason, and that's because it is absolutely gorgeous up there. Some of the views up there are absolutely breathtaking. If you ever get the chance to head up there, definitely I would highly recommend it. You have Traverse City, the Mackinac Island or Mackinac Bridge, and Oscoda, and that area, the hot springs up in Oscoda are absolutely gorgeous up there. And if you have a question on where Traverse City is on Lake Michigan, all you have to do is take your left hand, put it up in front of you with your thumb out, and it kind of makes a mitt. We always said that Michigan was a mitt. And if you put your hand out and you look at your ring finger, the outside tip of your ring finger would be where Traverse City is in Michigan. All right, so back to the model, getting the decals on. And this one did have a little bit of an issue because one of the antennas was in the way, so I had to break that off, and I ended up gluing it back into place after all the water and everything is out and after the decal set is put on. This was really the only decal that kind of gave me any issues, just because it was so large. This one and the actual one, this one right here, the CG one, did give me some issue, but nothing major. Much like these large decals were very easy to do versus some of the other large decals from other kits I've dealt with before. These went down and off the water very nicely. Just it was kind of a pain in the butt to get all of the water out. Now we're putting on the stars and bars on the top of the fuselage, getting this into place. And yes, I do realize that it is not in the right orientation. And I end up correcting this a little bit later on. Luckily, these decals, like I said, they were an absolute dream to work with. That decal sat on there for a good 30 minutes or so before I got to realize it. And I just re-wet it, flipped it around, and got it right into the right place. So that went on nice and easy. You saw I put on 2 3s right there, 2 separate 3s. That's the other nice thing about the Warner Wing set, is that it does have numbers for numerous aircraft. And you can see here, now I am changing the fuselage numbers to the 6007 right here from Traverse City. I was doing some Google research, and I saw a picture when I Googled Coast Guard Air Station MH-60 and looked up for images, and 6033 showed up on there. But as you can see here, 6033 is from Clearwater. And then on this picture that you're going to come up with, 6007 is from Traverse City. Now, in the actual decal sheet, the instructions, 6077 is actually from Kodiak. Now, how that came to be is in 2017, April 20th of 2017, Station Clearwater got the MH-60. They switched from the MH-65 starting in April, and by the end of the summer of 2017, Traverse City had switched completely to the MH-60, which is a much longer range bird that has much better capacity. I'm going to go over more of that in the final review video, but had to get that changed out. Luckily, decals hadn't really been burnt in by the decal set, so that really made it easy to change out. And with it already being a number option, it made it even easier. So now we're seeing the final view with all the stencils and everything in. I didn't or video the stencils going on because it was hard to show them on camera. So there you go. There's your final view, and we're gonna hit it with a clear coat light sheen on this. I'm not gonna go with the gloss coat for the main body, and then for the black parts, we're gonna go with the matte coat. So we're gonna do a couple two-tone clear coat right here, and now we're taking off the masking. Everything's been clear coated, allowed to dry, and the first maskings are looking really good. Now we're going to remove this one, and boom, we have our first issue right there. And that's on the inside of glass work. I think it's because there was a gap in the front windshield that I didn't notice. It looked like it was good, but when I ran my tweezers across it here in a little bit, there is a little bit of a gap. So I think some overspray or something got onto the inside of it and really muffed up the clear parts on this, which is really, really sad. But then again, this kit has been fighting me every step of the way, so it's not really a shocker that this happened. Um, Luckily, this is just going to be a shelf queen. It's not going to go to any shows or anything. And then also, I am learning a lot from this one as I am also doing the SH60 Foxtrot. And so I know now before I paint on the SH60 Foxtrot to make sure and double check and triple check that area right there to make sure that that is absolutely sealed up. I know it's not from super glue or anything like that because I let it set and dry for weeks and weeks before he even attached the clear parts or closed everything up. So it's not a fogging issue, it's overspray issue from that gap. Now we're getting the masking taken off of the aft cabin door, and then we're going to get this slid in right into place. This fit perfectly, no issues. And then we're just going to run a little bit of Tamiya extra thin right on the connection point of there and get that in. And now we got the fuel tanks. These fuel tanks were actually a pain in the butt. The holes from the kit were too small for the connection points from the kit, so I had to kind of burr those out a little bit to get them to fit, and finally got it to make do. And getting those on, and then coming up here in a second, we're going to be adding in the stubby fuel tank from the Warner's Wings set right here. Adding in a little bit of extra CA glue. And then we're adding in these handrails, which were very, very fragile. They did break no matter what I did when I was cutting them off the spruce. And now we have the mirrors. The mirrors were an absolute nightmare to put on because the instructions on how to put those on were about as clear as mud. So trying to figure that out. Now we got a bunch of the other stuff put on with the um and or railings that are going to be going on. We're going to be rigging some easy line on those, and then we also have the ventral fins, I guess you could call them, on the tail getting attached. Now we're using the easy line. I'm using the extra thick easy line right here to go on. This is a Juliet, so it doesn't have the bar going on. It has some wire going on. Now with Traverse City, they did have when they did transfer over to the 60, they did get tangos, or at least all of the tangos or Juliets were transitioned to tangos by the end of the summer. So with this, I am just going to go with the Juliet and do the easy line on these little outriggers right here. And I think that looks good enough for me, really honestly. I'm hoping that if somebody else does a 60 Jayhawk, like Zimmy model, if they actually release a Jayhawk kit, I'm hoping that they release the bar that goes on the bottom here, and then I'll probably do another one, maybe, as a Tango. Or I prefer another manufacturer completely redo this model because this was an absolute nightmare to build. Now, getting that easy line on just was not cooperating, so I did have to go in with my zip kicker and give that a little bit of extra motivation. And for some reason, with the zip kicker, sometimes it barely spurts out, and other times it just puts out the entire bottle. And now we're starting to work on the main rotor head right here. Now, the thing that kind of really ticks me off about this one is I literally just did a test fit on this not a couple minutes before actually going on camera and getting this glued in the spot. And of course, now that it's on camera, it's not working. When I first did it the first time, the shaft slid right in the hole with no fits. Try saying that with a straight face. And now we're getting everything glued in right here. Another thing that I'll find out here in just a little bit as I'm connecting these arms is that everything is off a line right here. And that is because the sway brace um, that connects the shaft to the circular plate right on the bottom. I didn't get that glued in on the right angle. So I think on the Foxtrot when I do it, if it's not glued in already, I am going to take some debonder and break that free. So that way I'm not going to glue that into place until everything is put together. So these um, actuators are actually lined up properly. Now, the last part, we are working on the rotor blades, getting those attached. And the nice thing about the Res Kit rotor head is that it does have the steel bars that go into it that's going to really help support this. Now, getting the kit rotors to fit onto that did take some modification to this, as you can see, just going back and forth, drilling out the hole right here, which was easy enough to do. There was no real question about where that hole went. And then just getting the insides of it trimmed out just enough with a file to get that to fit. And after I got it to fit, that's a really firm fit. I'm really not worried about the blades breaking off like what happened on the previous 60 build that I did using the Res Kit rotor head, the older version of it, which was all cast resin and didn't have the bar support like this does. So I would highly, if you are interested in doing this kit, I would highly recommend getting the new Res Kit rotor head system for any of their 60s because they all do have the support. And that was one of the major weak points of this set right here. So I'm actually thinking if I can break free the rotor head on my Payhawk build, I might do that and do a new rotor head on it. We'll have to see because that again is one of the weak points. Kind of disappointing on that one, but There we go. We're getting the final one done, and that is going to be it for today. We've really progressed a lot, and actually now the 60 is all done. I've already done the final review of it in the photo booth. So all I got to do is do the editing for the video, and that one will be out shortly. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys stick around for the final review coming out within the next couple days, hopefully. And other than that, that's all I have. If you haven't yet, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications of when I post future videos. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day. And I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.